Yuzvendra Chahal, I mean, from the cricket pitch to the gossip columns, his life has been anything but quiet lately, right? But beyond all the speculation, I mean, what is really going on here?
Yeah.
You've brought this collection of these news reports all about, all these swirling rumors around the cricketer Yuzvendra Chahal and the actress and influencer RJ Mahvash.
Right.
And we're going to, I guess, dive deep into these stories, try to really kind of make sense of like what is actually being reported versus like what people are assuming, and really get into how like celebrity relationships work in this, age of social media, right?
Totally.
I mean, it's amazing how fast like a whisper can become a headline now.
It really is. I mean, it's fascinating too because of like the timing, right?
Right.
It's like, how easily like a few moments in public can be kind of seen as romantic, even when there's like no real proof.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really interesting.
For this deep dive, you've pulled reports from, Sakshi Post, NDTV Sports, The Times of India,
Right.
Herzandagi India Forums, and the Express Tribune. And these have all like come out in the last couple of days, so it's really like right now. So what we want to do today is really trying to give you a clear picture of what's going on right now, give you a sense of RJ Mahvash's side of things, like her perspective on relationships, and also like how social media really acts as this sort of like magnifying glass on everything, shaping these narratives around celebrities.
Exactly.
So let's start at the very beginning. Like what even sparked all these most recent rumors?
Well, the timeline here is pretty important. It's like the speculation really seemed to come back as Chahal's divorce from Dhanashree Verma was finishing up, and then of course that divorce became official just last month.
Right.
So like anything that happened before, I mean, it makes sense that people are gonna like look back on that and like,
And wonder.
yeah. Right. So it's almost like with that like fresh start, everyone's like, ooh, well, what about this? What about that?
Exactly. Yeah.
But the main thing that like really got people talking again was when they were both seen together at the Champions Trophy matches in Dubai.
Right.
And it's important to remember this was like before the IPL even started. Right?
Exactly.
So this was like almost like this like quiet moment before like the storm of the cricket season. So,
yeah, it was almost like the calm before the storm, right?
Yeah.
And cricket fans, man, they're so into it.
Yeah.
They pay attention.
They notice everything.
Yeah. So like how they were interacting and just the vibe they had at those matches, it didn't like go unnoticed.
No. Yeah.
So like suddenly all over social media, people were like, putting these little pieces together. Right?
Yeah. Like trying to find clues. It's almost like everyone suddenly became this like relationship expert. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's like, yeah.
So it was really, really interesting to watch.
And it's that instant reaction from fans, that's so telling, right? Like one glance they share, or the way they're standing in a photo and people are like, oh, this means
they're a couple.
They're a couple and they're in love, and it's like
Yeah.
suddenly this whole story is being written online.
Absolutely, yeah. It's amazing how quickly
Yeah.
it can all happen.
But what about RJ Mahvash herself? I mean, what has she said about all this speculation?
So this is where it gets like really interesting because Mahvash has been very like straightforward about all this.
Okay.
She's she said in an interview, and she also said on her podcast, that she is, and I quote, very much single.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that.
No. You'd think that would be like the end of it.
You'd think so, right?
But she didn't just like clarify her relationship status, right?
Well,
She went on to like share some pretty strong and maybe even like unconventional ideas about marriage and dating in general. So because she's got like a very specific philosophy about all this.
Right. I mean, she said very clearly that she doesn't understand the concept of marriage in today's world.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, that's a pretty big statement, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people believe in marriage, and she's basically saying, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then her views on dating are just as strong too. She's like, she doesn't believe in casual dating at all.
Okay.
Like, to her, dating is only something you do if you're seriously thinking about being with that person for a long time, like with marriage as the goal.
Right.
I mean, this goes against like a lot of what we see in like modern dating culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And she even used this like kind of funny analogy to explain this, right? Something to do with the movie Doom.
Yes.
Yes, I feel like I remember reading that.
Right. She basically said that her way of looking at relationships is kind of like this character in Doom, who's like, even while he's dating, he's already picturing his future wife and kids, you know?
Wow.
So it's like, it's all about having that clear vision of the future together right from the very beginning.
Right from the start.
Yeah.
So it's very, I guess, intentional, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just sort of like going with the flow, I guess.
Right, exactly. It's a very, you know, I guess you could say it's a more traditional viewpoint in you know, today's world.
Right.
But it's interesting, right? Because it kind of it shows how some people are moving away from like the traditional ideas about relationships.
Yeah.
It's not all about like what we used to think it was.
It is definitely like a different way of thinking about it. Yeah.
It sets her apart, that's for sure.
For sure.
But it sounds like this perspective didn't just like appear out of nowhere, right? I mean, it seems like it's been shaped by her own experiences.
Exactly. She mentioned being engaged when she was really young, like just 19.
Oh, wow.
And that relationship ended when she was 21.
Yeah.
And she didn't give all the details, but you can tell that experience really like affected how she sees relationships now and the kind of commitment she's looking for, you know?
Right. So it's like a formative experience when you're so young like that.
Yeah.
It stays with you.
Absolutely.
And while, you know, there are all these rumors about her and Chahal, she's been really clear about what her priorities are right now, hasn't she?
Oh, yeah. Right now, her career is like the most important thing. You know, she's said that dating and marriage are just like not even on her mind right now, and all she wants to do is focus on her work and her goals, you know?
And honestly, that's pretty refreshing to hear, especially in the world of like celebrity gossip, you know?
Yeah, no, totally.
It's good to see someone just being like, you know what, this is what I'm focused on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like in interviews, right? She addressed these rumors online too, right? Like directly.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't hold back in an online message.
Yeah.
She just straight up called the rumors baseless.
Wow.
You know, she was like, I can't believe people are making these assumptions just because I was seen with a guy.
Right.
And I mean, it makes you think, right? It's like, why do we, like, as a society, you know, just assume things about people, especially, you know, celebrities?
Especially those in the public eye.
Just because they're seen with someone, right?
Yeah. No, it's a really good point.
Yeah.
But then there's also that funny video that she posted on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
That seemed to, like, kind of play into the whole thing in a clever way, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is really interesting because she put up this video where she's supporting Chahal, but it's actually an endorsement for this mobile app. And she says, Team Banao or Paisa Kamau, wicket to Chahal Lehilega.
I see.
And that basically means make your team and earn money. Chahal will definitely take the wickets.
Right, so it's kind of a play on his skills as a cricketer.
Exactly. It's really clever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like using his cricket stuff, but it's also like she's endorsing this app.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
But the articles say that, you know, it definitely got people talking even more, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's like she's kind of acknowledging the rumors, but she's not really like
she's not adding to them.
Yeah.
She's not like confirming anything.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's almost like how to say it.
Yeah.
It's like how do you deal with being in the public eye and people talking about you? She's showing us how to do it.
It's like a masterclass in like managing your image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
You know, especially with how fast things can spread online.
Okay, so now let's talk about social media, right?
Yep.
Because we can't ignore that this whole thing is basically being driven by social media. Right?
Totally. It's been like the engine of this whole rumor mill.
Yeah.
And even Chahal himself, he hasn't been completely quiet online.
Right.
Especially like what he does on social media, right?
Yeah. So what's interesting is like he was really quick to like one of Mahvash's kind of mysterious Instagram reels.
Oh yeah.
Where she's like, "Koilet ka aega to hoga bas ek boyfriend hoga, wo best friend hoga, wo boyfriend hoga, husband hoga."
Oh, I saw that one.
Which, for those who don't know Hindi, basically means if a boy comes, he will be just one. He will be the friend, the best friend, the boyfriend, the husband.
Right, like this one guy will be everything.
Yeah. So it's kind of like hinting at,
At wanting just one, like this one perfect relationship.
Yeah.
Where the guy is like everything to her.
Right.
Yeah.
And Chahal liked this so fast,
Was
right?
it fast?
Like some fan noticed it was within like 40 seconds.
I know, right?
And the internet basically like exploded.
It was crazy.
It's amazing how much like meaning people can give to like the tiniest thing you do online.
Yeah, it's like, you press a button and suddenly everyone's like reading into it, looking for like hidden messages and stuff.
Right. And the comments under that reel,
oh my
they
God,
just went crazy.
I know, everyone was calling her like Bobby 2.0.
Right, Bobby 2.0.
Which if you don't know, Bobby means like sister-in-law.
Yeah.
But like in this case, they're saying it because they think she's going to be his second wife.
Right.
So like, again, you see how people just like jump to conclusions online. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's like they see a few things and they're like, oh, this is definitely happening.
Like everyone's like an internet detective or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there were the reports about Mahvash being in Lucknow during one of Chahal's IPL matches.
Right.
And these little, online clues that she leaves. I mean, they really do kind of like paint this picture,
Yeah, they do. It's like she shared this Instagram story from like the Taj Hotel's pool in Lucknow.
Right.
And it turns out Lucknow was where Chahal's team, the Lucknow Super Giants, were playing against the Punjab Kings.
Right.
And it's like that kind of detail that makes the rumor feel more like real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though like it doesn't actually prove anything.
Right.
Like maybe she was just in Lucknow for something else.
Yeah.
But, people see those two things together and they're like, oh, well, there you go.
It's like they're in the same city at the same time, it must mean.
It must mean something, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's it just shows how powerful like suggestion can be online.
Yeah, totally.
Like people see a few things and their minds just kind of fill in the rest.
Right. Okay, but let's shift gears a little bit here.
Okay.
Besides her relationship status and these rumors, RJ Mahvash has also shared like some really personal things about her past and what she thinks about relationships in general.
Yeah, she has.
And I think it's important to understand like that context to really see where she's coming from now.
Absolutely. I mean, to really get her perspective, we have to look at what she's been through. She talked openly about her engagement, and how her fiance actually cheated on her. Not just once, but 3 times during their 3-year engagement.
Oh, wow.
And this started when she was only 19, and it ended when she was 21. So,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big betrayal to go through when you're so young.
Yeah, no, that's a huge betrayal.
Especially when you're at that age,
At such a young age.
Yeah. So it had to have been really hard on her.
It sounds awful.
Yeah, she called it a bad phase. She even talked about having panic attacks and needing, like, medical help during that time.
Oh, gosh.
And what's really sad is that she didn't tell her parents everything right away because she was the one who like pushed them to accept the engagement in the first place.
No.
So, it's like she felt like she couldn't go to them for support.
Right.
Because she had been so sure about it before.
It's tough, when you feel betrayed and then you feel like you can't even go to your family.
Yeah, exactly.
For support because you might get like the I told you so.
Right, or feel like they're going to judge you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it sounds like this really like affected her sense of self-worth,
Yeah, unfortunately it did. She said that she would read her fiance's text messages to other women.
Oh, no.
And she started to blame herself,
Right.
Like she thought it was her fault.
Yeah.
She even said she thought she was not a good kisser because of the things she was reading.
Wow.
It's a really sad reminder of how cheating can like scar someone emotionally, you know?
It's heartbreaking, and how it can make you doubt yourself, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Like in such a personal way.
Right. And you know, in a society where physical intimacy is such a big part of, you know, romance and relationships.
Right.
Her next revelation is you know, even more like insightful, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, she actually revealed that even though they were together for 6 years, you know, 3 years dating and then 3 years engaged, they were never physically intimate.
Wow.
Which, you know, this was because of like societal norms and the idea that you're only supposed to be physically intimate after you get married.
Right.
You know, it shows how like conservative her upbringing was.
Yeah.
And the values she held during that relationship.
Oh, right.
So it makes a lot of sense why she's so careful about relationships now.
Yeah, yeah.
And why she's so focused on marriage as like the end goal.
Right. It's like she's not willing to just like jump into anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a little bit, right?
Okay.
And think about like the bigger picture of celebrity culture and how much influence social media has in all this.
Yeah.
You mentioned this article from DXB News Network that talks about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fascinating because social media has totally changed how celebrities interact with their fans, how they promote themselves, and how they like manage their public image.
Right.
You know, it's not like it used to be where we only saw what magazines and TV chose to show us.
Right.
It's like celebrities have this direct line to their audience now.
Right. They can just go live. They can.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like they can just like tell us directly what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, without having to go through like the filter of traditional media.
Yeah. Yeah. It's completely blurred the lines, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, celebrities are so much more accessible now.
Yeah.
Which can be great in terms of like connection, but it also opens them up to so much more scrutiny.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, these platforms allow for like direct fan engagement, like in real time.
Right.
You know, celebrities can share little bits of their everyday lives. They can say what they think, like instantly. And it creates this feeling of like closeness and realness.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like we see with Chahal and Mahvash, it also means that everything they do, everything they say, it's instantly analyzed and talked about by everyone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this constant online scrutiny can turn something small into this huge thing.
Yeah.
And put a lot of pressure on people like Chahal and Mahvash.
Right. And for celebrities, social media is also this incredibly powerful tool for like branding themselves.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities don't have to rely on traditional media anymore.
Right.
They can like carefully create their online persona.
Yeah.
And then with like influencer marketing and stuff,
right.
brand deals and endorsements have become a big part of how they make money.
Right.
And how people see them.
Yeah.
So they can really shape their own image.
Yeah. But the article also talks about like the not so glamorous side of all this digital fame, right?
Right.
Like the downsides.
Yeah, the dark side.
Yeah.
You know, things like cyberbullying,
right.
cancel culture.
Yeah.
This pressure to like be perfect online, which is, you know, impossible.
Yeah, totally.
And unlike like scandals in the past that would eventually like fade away, social media never forgets.
Right.
So controversies could just keep coming back over and over again.
Yeah. It's like it's always there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we can't forget about the power of like viral trends, right?
Yeah.
Things that start on these platforms and then just blow up, you know, and affect music, fashion, entertainment, everything.
Totally. Like look at TikTok.
Right.
It's become this huge thing for like making songs popular.
Yeah.
Starting trends all over the world.
Yeah. So it shows how social media isn't just about like individual celebrities anymore.
Sure.
It's about like the whole culture.
It's become part of culture itself.
Yeah. Right. So where does all this leave like traditional media? You know, newspapers, TV, all that.
I mean, they've had to adapt, right?
Yeah.
They're having to like use content that comes from social media.
Yeah.
You know, they report on like viral posts, celebrity interactions.
Yeah.
They're basically competing with celebrities now.
Right.
Because celebrities can just talk directly to their fans.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how this has all changed.
It is. It's like the whole balance of power has shifted.
Yeah.
In media.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay, so bringing it all back to Yuzvendra Chahal and RJ Mahvash.
Okay.
What are like the main takeaways for us after looking at all these reports?
Well, I mean, even though they've been seen together and there's been all this talk online, RJ Mahvash has been really clear that she's single right now.
Right.
And that she's focused on her career
Yeah.
and her past experiences, especially that tough breakup.
Yeah.
They've really shaped how she thinks about relationships and marriage.
Right.
She's looking for something serious. She's not into casual dating.
Right.
And the way she talks about marriage, it's really different.
Yeah.
It's not the typical celebrity gossip.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's refreshing,
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
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 And I think this whole thing really shows how powerful social media is,
Oh, yeah.
It can really shape how people see things.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how fast rumors can spread.
I know, right?
And how social media makes everything bigger,
It's like a megaphone.
Yeah.
It amplifies everything.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, like in this case, Mahvash is saying it's not true,
Right.
but people are still talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like social media has a mind of its own sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary almost.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
It's like you just see a few things, like a photo together, like on a post,
Right.
being in the same city.
Yeah.
And people just assume, like, they know what's going on.
Yeah. Right. Right. And it's like in this world where every little thing a celebrity does
Yeah.
can be like captured, talked about, shared everywhere.
Analyzed.
Yeah.
Screenshotted.
How much of what we see is like actually real
Right.
and how much is just like people talking online?
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes you think about like what it's like for the people who are actually living this. They're
Uh-huh.
just trying to live their lives, but everyone's watching them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot to think about.
It is. It is.
It really makes you question like how we consume all this information.
Right.
And how our, being online can
Yeah.
affect like real people.
Yeah, we have to be more mindful, I think,
Yeah.
of what we're putting out there and how it might be received.
Yeah. Well, if you found this deep dive into the real story, behind all the headlines insightful, make sure to give this video a like and share it with others who, might be interested in the whole world of celebrity relationships and the age of social media.
Right.
We want to bring you these kinds of discussions, that go beyond just like the surface level stuff.